So when it comes to dieting to lose weight, it's about eating less. If your goal is weight loss, obviously, and it's not just we just don't want to just achieve weight loss. We want to achieve fat loss because you do want to look good in a bikini. So you don't want to lose too much muscle weight. When you're losing weight, the body doesn't really care what you lose unless you give it a reason. So it will lose muscle and fat at the same time, about the same rate as well. If you eat enough protein and also if you put enough tension on the muscle, you will get to keep muscle more and lose majority of fat. And if lucky, if you're training really well and you're eating really well, then you may even still put on muscle mass while you're in a caloric deficit. The fatter that you are, the more likely that is the case. But the leaner that you are, the more lower fat percentage you are, the body will be screaming for calories and it will not care if it's losing muscle because its goal is to keep fat mass for survival. And so you'll run into the risk of losing more muscle mass the leaner that you get. And that's really the holy grail of bodybuilding. It's okay, how do I put on muscle during off season without gaining fat while eating more? And how do I lose weight during in season while eating less but not having the energy and the material to build muscle or at least keep muscle. So that is the goal. It's when you're dieting, and I'm going to call it dieting even though it sounds bad. You are making a dietary change. That is dieting, right? No hard feelings about that. You are making a change. You're doing something about it. So you're going to cut calories. It's easier that way instead of trying to train more, especially if you don't have the luxury or the recoverability to do that. And it's faster. And so, for example, someone weighing at 140 pounds, and I was just gonna guess, you maybe burn 2,400 calories a day. Let's use that as an example, okay? It's easier. If you burn let's just say you burn 2,000 calories a day, okay? It's actually probably higher than that, but let's say that. And so we know a pound of body fat is 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories. It's roughly what a pound of fat is. So if you want to lose a pound of fat a week, then you take 3,500 calories and you divide that up by 7 days, then you have to cut out 500 calories a day from whatever your maintenance is. So your maintenance is what you burn a day. So if you haven't gained or lose weight for the past few months, on average, you've been eating at your maintenance because you haven't gained or lose any weight. So when it comes to manipulating mass off or put onto the body, you have to give it more energy or put yourself in a negative energy balance. And so if you want to remove something from your body away into the environment as heat, you have to either take in less or you move more. Well, we already talked about moving more is not very efficient, so let's talk about taking less. So if you're going to take 500 calories less a day on average from your maintenance, which is 2,000, and it depends on how big you are already. So if I'm talking to a guy who's 200 pounds, maybe he burned 3,000 calories a day. So that's his maintenance, it's 3,000. So if he wants to cut pounds a week, then he just needs to eat 2,500 calories. Now for you specifically, if you burn 2,000 calories a day and you've been eating 2,000 calories a day because your weight hasn't changed all this time, then what you're going to do is just eat 1,500 calories and you'll lose 1 pound a week. You're probably wondering, what is a good rate of fat loss? 1 pound is kind of slow. I want faster results. So you can shoot for 2 pounds a week. Huh? Well, that's not fine with me. But those are just examples. Okay, so if you're losing 2 pounds a week, then that's 7,000 calories of deficit, right? So that's 1,000 of a deficit a day on average. So if you burn 2,000 calories a day, all you have to do is eat 1,000 calories a day, then you will achieve that 1,000 calories of a deficit, and you will, by the law of physics, you will lose 2 pounds a week. That's a little fast because 1,000 calories of allowance to eat is not a lot to work with, unless you're taking some kind of hunger suppressant, unless you don't have a lot of distractions in your social life. You're eating a lot of very satiating food, which we'll cover in later. So a good rate of fat loss would be, in my opinion, just shoot for 1% of your own body weight per week. So you weigh at 140 right now, a good rate of fat loss would be 1. Yeah, so let's shoot for 1.5 pounds then. So 1.5 times 3,500 calories, that comes out to be like 5,000 calories or so. I don't know. I need a calculator. So, but let's say that you're trying to cut 5,000 calories a week then to lose 1.5 pounds. Then you take that number divided by 7. That comes out to be 700 something calories of a deficit. Okay. So if your maintenance 2,000 calories and you need an negative energy, like a deficit of 700 calories, then your allowance will be 1,300 calories. So obviously you're not going to eat 1,300 calories every day, but try to have an average per week. So at 1,300 calories, you will lose 1.5 pounds a week. As you get leaner, maybe you go down to 120 pounds. You still want to get even leaner. Well, don't expect to lose 1.5 pounds a week. I mean, you can, but that would be kind of miserable because you're cutting a lot more, because your body will fight hunger a little bit stronger at 120 than someone who's 150. So that's how you find out your deficit, and that's how you figure out your allowance. And that will be covered in your program as well, but I just want to explain it to you over the phone. So let's say that your allowance is 1,300 calories. Well, what are you going to eat with 1,300 calories? A lot of times people say, oh, I believe in Atkins because my cousin lost all this weight doing Atkins. I'm going to eat all protein, no carbs. Carb is bad. Or I'm going to not eat after 6 o'clock because calorie goes straight to my butt. Or I'm going to listen to Jillian Michaels because she said eating 5 times a day is healthy for me. And Beyonce say, oh, I got to drink this tea because it has low calories. So we have a lot of conflicting information about how to eat. So what I want you to do now is, instead of listening to garbage information that you collect from the internet and from your family and from your coworkers, listen to me. That is science-based instead of garbage. So when it comes to eating less, first of all, you have to be in the deficit to lose weight. And then second, how do you sustain that deficit long term so you can keep seeing results without feeling miserable, without feeling food deprived? So to eat less, obviously hunger will be an issue. So you want to eat less without getting hungry, so that you can have the luxury and the willpower to keep eating less. So when you eat foods that are very satiating, then you won't run into hunger issues as often. Then it'll be easier to keep eating 1,300 calories a day. So what are some of the things that are not very satiating that you should stay away from, or at least try to eat less of? Things like liquid calories will be one. That would be the first category of food or calories that you should try to reduce as much as you can. So in liquid calories, yeah, so things like alcohol, soda, pop, shakes, milkshakes, protein shakes even, juice, almond milk, any type of milk, anything that you don't need to chew that has a lot of calories in it, that would be the first thing to go, because it just doesn't do much for satiety. And so let's say I'm going to compare 200 calories worth of orange juice to 200 calories worth of chicken breast. And let's say you're going to work, you don't have time to eat, you won't be able to eat for 6 hours. Now, the last thing you want is run into hunger issues, okay? Then what would you choose? 200 calories worth of chicken breast or 200 calories of orange juice? Exactly. And so, same for protein shakes, same for milk, same for alcohol, same for soda. It's just not a good idea. You can always work your calories backward. Like, you meet your essential nutrients first from your 1,300 calories. Whatever calories you have left, you can fit maybe a glass of orange juice in there. But if you keep running into hunger issues, eating 1,300 calories a day, then maybe it's not a good idea. Okay, so the second food source that aren't very satiating would be your processed carbohydrates. So carbs in general is not essential. I will explain a little bit more on that in a second. I got the order of my consultation a little bit wrong. But the second category would be processed carbs. So carbs in general is not essential. Processed carbs make it even less essential because it's processed. and the fibers are taken out, all the nutrients are taken out, all the water volumes are taken out. So things like chips, cookies, pasta, noodles, what else can you think of? Ice cream, bread, exactly. So all those things are not very satiating. I'm not saying they're super unhealthy. They have stuff in it that will help you. They have magnesium, sometimes they have potassium, they have calorie, they have sugar. They're all good. They're all fine. It's just that on satiety, it doesn't do much. So comparing, you can eat a whole bag of chips like Lay's in front of a movie, and you easily down 1,000 calories in one sitting. And compare 1,000 calories worth of chips to 1,000 calories worth of steak, or 500 calories worth of steak and 500 calories of broccoli. Which one is gonna satiate you better? Well, obviously the 1,000 calories worth of steak and broccoli. You probably won't be able to eat 1,000 calories of broccoli and steak in one setting because you'd be so full. Whereas you can easily eat 1,000 calories worth of milkshake or cookie in one setting and not feel full. So that's the difference. Is processed carbs doesn't do much for satiety. That would be the second category. Now, if you can't even handle the first category, which is liquid calories, don't worry about too much about the chips and the soda, or chips and the noodles and the bread. But that is the second thing that's not very satiating that you need to try to reduce as much as you can. And it'll help if you just don't have those around the house. The third category would be your carbs in general. Things like, apples, bananas. I'm not saying to cut them out. I'm just giving you an example. Like broccoli. These are all carb sources. Starchy stuff like potatoes, corn, rice, wheat, millets, barley, zucchini, cucumber, green beans, strawberries, orange. These are all carbs. Okay, they're plant-based. They're fruits and vegetables, and tubers, and seeds, and nuts. And so all of these things aren't essential, as in essential for human survival. So there are different, populations in the world that don't ever touch that, and yet their genetics aren't very different from us. Like people who live in Mongolia, or the Inuits, people who live in Greenland, and Russians. So let's say 200 years ago before this fridge, or 2,000 years ago before this agriculture, they eat mainly just meat. Then there are populations that never even touch kale or spinach or anything in their life, and they're healthy, and their genes aren't that much different from us. Their digestive enzymes aren't that much different from us, and through archaeological evidence that they live long and healthy and strong and tall, and their teeth are healthy and they can reproduce. Then you can eat like them, like your ancestors, and still maintain good health, right? And so we know that carbs is not essential. I mean, as healthy as some people make them out to be. It's like, oh, kale is super healthy and avocado is super healthy, and that's all fine if you believe in all that. It's very subjective, and that's the problem. Everybody has their own opinions on what is healthy, what is clean, and what is superfood, and what is dirty food, what is junk food, and what is what is processed food. And so we all have our opinions, right? Because if you talk to a hippie, you talk to a bodybuilder, you talk to a fat boy, you talk to a chiropractor, they all have their own opinions. And so what I'm saying is, why don't we look at a research and then figure out what is essential for human survival, and what is not essential? Why don't we call those calories flexible calories, and then eat whatever the heck you want after you met your essentials? But we'll get to that in a second. So third category is whole carbs. They're not essential. Some of them are more satiating than the other, so eat more satiating ones. And then, okay, so the example of satiating carbs would be like broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, cucumber, green beans, spinach, lettuce, anything that's high in fiber, low in sugar and starch. Okay. And things that aren't very satiating, that has more calories, would be something that's starchy or sweet. So sweet would be mostly like fruits like papaya, watermelon, grapes. They add up sugar calories pretty fast. Bananas. And then those are lower in sugar, higher in fiber and water that give you temporary fullness, will be like apples and orange and grapefruit, and pineapple is kind of sweet. So that's just the fruits side. And then the vegetables would be like things that are starchy, would be like any beans, nuts. They're high in fat as well. and then your starchy seeds base would be like wheat, corn, rice, millets, rye. What I don't know what wheat, rice. I already said that. And then and then nuts and beans. Those are all very starchy, and peas, very starchy. Soy also, and so those are more starchy. That's less for satiety.